Hey everybody, welcome to the Shrimp City Report, the Low Country's premier leisure and entertainment podcast. Today we're lucky enough to be at the Firefly Distillery. I have my faithful co-host. Say hello, DJ.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm Devin Dukes. And who else do we have with us today?
Scott Newitt.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, how are ya?
Doing good. And
Jim Irvin.
hey, Jim. So we got Jim Irvin and Scott Newitt. They are the, I guess, head honchos?
Co-founders.
Co-founders
of the Firefly Distillery.
Okay. Well, I'm going to begin by saying Firefly as a Charlestonian, a Charleston native, Firefly has been somewhat of a phenomenon for us and even folks we know all over the country. Can you just go ahead and kick off, Scott, how you started the company and where did you have the audacity to build this empire?
Let's see. I was in the wine marketing and sales business for 20 years. And in 2000, I met Jim Irvin, who decided to become a winemaker. Mm-hmm. And I was a distributor at the time. And he needed a distributor to distribute his wine. So we met. We became friends. My guys put his wines in about 600 grocery stores and independent retailers across the state. 3 years later, I told him I had an idea that I wanted to make vodka, and we made our first vodka out of his wine. So we made our first vodka in 2005. It's called Firefly Muscadine Wine Flavored Vodka.
Wow.
Wow, that is interesting. Jim, were you just doing muscadine wine at that time, or?
That's the only grape that will grow in the hot, humid weather.
Do those grow on? Like I see a lot of vines in the south that just kind of intermingle with trees.
Yeah, a lot of like wild
it's the
vines,
same thing, but more propagated, so you can get a crop out of it.
Okay,
so he trustled 11 acres.
Holy cow!
7.5 miles of trellis.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get your craft down? Have you been a lifelong enthusiast of making wine?
No. Luckily, it's very slow moving. Mm-hmm. So there's no hurry to get anywhere. It's very slow. It uses everything natural, like yeast, water, sugar, and it turns it all into alcohol.
I like that pace.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I guess distilling's a bigger challenge then.
They're both unique.
Yeah.
Right.
You have to make beer or wine first, and then that's the only way to make alcohol, and then you distill it to concentrate it.
Yeah, we're pulling the alcohol out of a beer or a wine.
Really?
Distillation.
Wow.
That's what we're doing. Because alcohol boils around 177 degrees.
Yeah.
And water at 212, so all the water and stuff stays in the pot, and we're taking the alcohol after it's been condensed from vapor back into liquid through the
Chilling it.
Yeah, chilling it.
So you're actively doing that now?
We do that to make
Yeah.
our vodkas and make our white dog and all that kind of
I
stuff.
had no idea that was even a thing. So then you have to have some kind of beer making ability as well.
Yeah,
Right.
so Jay and Jim are both brewers and both winemakers and distillers, obviously. And the magic is in the yeast, and then also the magic is in the distillation part, knowing when to stop, when to grab the hearts, because when the distillation starts, the first thing to come off is called the heads, and then the middle is called the hearts, which is what you want to keep, and the bottom is called tails. Yeah.
Okay.
So what was the, I guess, learning process like when y'all were switching between wine and vodka? Like, you explained some of the systems, but was it easy to pick up making that switch, not just with the production, but marketing too, or getting your foot into the ground?
I can speak to the marketing. I was marketing spirits and wines for 20 years, so
yeah.
I knew how to get to market, how to get through the gatekeepers, and how to get into the stores on the shelf in the right spot. And then does it sell?
Okay, yeah, cool.
Well, part of our one-page operating agreement is he's the salesman and I'm inside the bottle. And there's no way we can fight because we don't know what the other guy's doing.
Yeah.
Right. And we're 50-50. We're married. So
Okay. You had the winery
Winery down on Wadmalaw.
on Wadmalaw. Okay. Was that already?
No, my wife and I and Jay, who is our general manager,
Okay.
put all the trellises in, all the vines in, everything.
Okay, so there was already some kind of family environment, or at least a group
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
going to do
yeah, so
that.
they owned Urban House Vineyards as a family, and
Okay.
then he and I became friends and started Firefly Distillery, and the distillery rented from the landowners, which were Jim and Ann.
Right.
So there was a business within a business.
Okay, so at that point, you did not have to go out and procure land or a location to do the distilling. You were able to do everything.
We rented.
That must have been some kind of advantage,
Yeah, absolutely.
especially if you were collaborating on that.
And they already had visitors coming down there.
All right, so you had everything going at Wadmalaw at that point. You'd already started messing around with the distilling. In Wadmalaw, did you have distilled product for sale at the farm?
Yes.
Okay, so you did. You had already established Firefly. Did Firefly Sweet Tea Vodka first thing?
First was the muscadine, but then we
Your muscadine.
came out with the sweet tea in 2008.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember if we had. I guess we had it right out of the gate, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
We came out with the world's first sweet tea vodka April 15th, 2008.
Okay. Almost every wedding I went to.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, you see it everywhere, Park Circle, certainly.
Right.
And what's beautiful about it is it's tea from the tea plantation on Wadmalaw,
Oh yeah.
sugar from Louisiana, which is where I grew up,
Uh-huh.
and our vodka. So those are the three ingredients that are in it.
Excellent. Okay, so Wadmalaw, did you outgrow it, or did you need something that was a little more centrally located for commerce? Or
Couple
Yes,
of
and yes,
factors.
and
Yes.
yes.
So we peaked out on visitor count 4 years in a row at about 35,000 people a year because of where we were. We were so far away from everything.
Right.
And we needed to expand because we were growing, and the county or actually the island of Wadmalaw didn't
Yep.
want us to put anything else up. So we met with the mayor of North Charleston, and for about 7 years looked for a spot to
Okay.
move to North Charleston. We knew we wanted to be in the Park Circle area, and we knew we wanted to be in North Charleston because there's a very pro-business environment.
Sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, at that time, North Charleston was just an open book, especially with the Navy base had been closed down forever. There's so much space along, that corridor. The Sproul corridor was open up. Did you go straight to you went straight to Sproul, right? Or you went to this location?
We looked at several. We looked at
Okay.
some on the Navy base. A lot of that was changing ownership, in the
Right, yeah.
when we were looking at it. We looked at this spot, and we looked at the spot over there that has 200 apartments on it.
Right next to the orphanage
Yeah.
where they had all the condos.
Oh, that's true. That's I forgot about that. We originally were on Azalea. We bought property with Palmetto Brewery.
Yeah.
We were going to be two businesses on a piece of property,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and then we didn't think that was a perfect spot, so we sold our interest to Palmetto, and then we found this spot, which has been awesome.
It has been awesome. For anybody that's never been to Firefly, it's how many acres?
16.
16.
It's 16 acres. It's 16 acres. Beautiful buildings, fantastic events, which we'll touch upon a little bit later. So, is what folks are going to see right now on a tour what you had when you started off, especially with all the extra racking buildings and all that. Did you start modest?
Yes, we started off with a warehouse,
Okay.
and we were making whiskey and stuff that we age, whiskey and bourbon, and bringing them from Wadmalaw to that warehouse while we were building this place. So we
Okay.
built the warehouse first,
Okay.
the first rick house. Now we have two.
Oh yeah, it's Rick House. I'm sorry, I said
That's
Rick
all right.
House.
Yeah,
I learned the other day on the tour here that it was Rick House. So,
yeah.
my apologies.
That's okay. Yeah, so we bought the property in 17 and
15. We bought it.
15, and then it took us 5 years to build this building.
So when's the first time trying to think the first time we came out here. We came out just to buy some stuff. At that point, you know, you had the entire marketing or front of the house, sales, gift shop, everything. You have a taste. Is that the tasting room?
It is.
Where the bar
Yeah.
is?
Yeah.
Okay, good. You do tours.
Right.
There's an opportunity to taste all of your wares. Or
Yeah,
just-
well, you get 6 spirits to try on a tasting. So if you come, 4 or 5 times, you'll taste everything.
Was that one of the business models that you were thinking of as you were growing? That one of the ways to, I guess, grow the product is to have people coming to your house and trying it?
That is our
Yeah.
number one marketing venue, or what's the word I'm looking for?
If we can get it into their mouth, they're going to buy it.
Right.
Yeah. And we get, Charleston gets 7+ million visitors a year. So if we can get 1% of them, that's a win.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Is coming from Charleston a benefit? Do you see eyes open or at least eyebrows raised when you're like, well, this is from Charleston?
The CVB here in Charleston spends a lot of money bringing people from all over the world.
Right.
And that is a huge benefit, the Charleston name.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and especially if Charleston government or organizations like that are aggressively bringing folks in. I mean, by osmosis, they're probably going to mention Firefly as one of the cool places to go.
I hope so.
We're one of their 10. We're one of their 10.
Yeah. You know, our friends, when they come in town, we mention you. We mention the River Dogs, Battery Games, some of the beer breweries.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they're cost-effective ways to see the city and have a nice time.
Absolutely.
You know,
So back to the acreage. I'm still amazed by that number. So when you initially bought the place, were you envisioning hosting all these events that you've been doing lately, like the oyster roasts, and of course, got to talk about the music as well.
Yeah.
It's one of the best music venues, I'd say, in Charleston.
Thanks.
Just
you.
the open field, being able to walk around, but just all the hosts y'all been getting lately, like Modest Mouse, and some of the big names,
yeah, T-Pain, 311.
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
Willie.
What did y'all envision? Almost having a whole separate marketing venue just for music and events.
Well, we did to an extent. Our plan was when we met with the architects and the civil engineers, they said, "What do you want?" I said, Jim and I said, "We want a distillery that feels like it's a county park." We really want a place for people to come out and bring their kids. Initially, we allowed dogs, but we had some incidents, and our insurance guy said you can't do that anymore, which is
Yeah.
unfortunate. But that was our goal, was to do, because we did that on Wadmalaw. We did oyster roasts, and we did low country boils, and we did 4 events a year on Wadmalaw. That's all we could do. But when we opened up, 1 month later, we were shut down by COVID-19.
Right, yeah.
So we really had to pivot because we knew we're not going to have any corporate functions, no weddings, nothing. So we met with a local promoter who I've known for a long time, Rob Lamble. And Rob and I sat in a room and we were looking at what people were doing. Nobody was doing really music. And Rob said, "Hey, why don't we call it Safe Sounds at Firefly," which is what we did. And we put 10 by 10 squares out on the field, 10 feet apart, and sold the squares. Only 4 people could go in them.
Yep,
We
I
had
remember
hand
that.
sanitizer and masks outside. Everything was outside, and we had some great concerts for 800 people.
And y'all definitely broke ground on that idea of a personalized, almost, safe music venue for COVID.
Right.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I was riding my bike through here one day and saw that set up, and I was like, this is so great.
Yeah,
Because during COVID, that was a bike rider's dream.
right,
It's on the road.
right,
I know it was bad for other reasons, but
right.
so-
Yeah, so then it just developed and became successful, and we didn't know, we weren't in the concert business,
Yeah.
but we learned. We hired we have a great events management team that
Okay.
knows that business, and truth be told, after all of what we did, we're now in an agreement with Live Nation.
Wow.
So Live
That's
Nation,
great.
we're a Live Nation venue, so they bring the talent,
Right.
but we do everything else really.
Okay. So Live Nation brings in Bad Religion.
Mm-hmm.
Since you're associated with Live Nation, you're going to have banging concerts forever because, we all know that's who, all bands that are great have aligned themselves with certain companies now. That's just
Right.
the way it goes. You have that forever. How much of the, not game day experience, but show day experience do you have to shop out locally? So we've been to these before. You have like 9 or 10 beer tents themselves just opened up.
Yeah, a lot of food trucks and stuff.
Yeah, we bring in local food trucks.
Uh-huh.
We use local security, traffic folks. We bring in, off-duty policemen.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make it a really safe environment. We have a trash service that comes in and make sure all the cans are
Right.
not overflowing. And I have a lot more to lose as a venue than a regular venue
Right,
because
right.
if somebody walks away, then they think my brand's not good.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we really spend more on the infrastructure and the experience than most.
Right. The accommodations are, so there's no lines that are working their way into the viewing,
Right.
Yeah.
experience. The same
Right.
with the food, plenty of restrooms. I can't say enough about it. And the friends that we brought from out of town to see shows,
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah.
they're always blown away by it.
And we fit a niche for the market. There's not many. I mean, there's 3 or 4 venues larger than us and a lot smaller, but there's not really one that's 5,000 people.
Right, and an outdoor space that can accommodate it. You have a management group that you coordinate with, or do you have your own event management here?
Our own event.
Oh,
Oh wow.
Okay.
Yeah, because they do all of our other events. They do our oyster roasts. And
Do y'all do something on the patios a lot, or you have music or
we
karaoke?
we do a Saturday summer series on the back porch. We call it. Call it 800 to 1600, and we use that back porch, which is a stage and has stage power.
Yeah.
Now, does the same event management, go through with like managing the tastings as well, or is that a whole separate?
So we have a great team. We have a team that runs the gift shop. We have a team that runs the tasting and bar and retail. I mean, I wish it was all in one room, but South
Yeah.
Carolina law doesn't allow that.
Right.
Because if you go to a liquor store, they've got the beer party shop, with
Yeah.
2 doors, and for some reason in South Carolina you can't sell liquor, beer, and wine together.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
I guess you're right. I've never thought
Yeah.
about that.
So we have, like I said, we have a great events team. We have a great production team that makes our products, and so it's 4 different little businesses together working together.
Okay, let's talk some product. When did you decide to expand past the Firefly Sweet Tea Vodka? And at that point, were you still selling the muscadine wine?
So we sold the muscadine wine from 06 to about 08.
Okay.
And then we just didn't have time to do that and sweet tea. Because we were just a little 6,000 square foot place on
Yeah.
Wadmalaw making sweet tea. In 2008 when we blew up, that was a terrible time to be trying to borrow money because that was the Great Recession or the
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
there wasn't any.
And so on the Firefly trademark, we went into a joint venture with a large distillery. We gave a large distillery sweat equity in our trademark, and the name of that distillery is Buffalo Trace.
Oh yeah, very familiar.
And so we gave them 25%. In return, they became secondary production. They became our sales force. They became our accounting. We get to buy barrels and White Dog from them. And it still is. It's a great partnership.
Oh, so you still have that partnership?
We do. So we made our first whiskey product in 2009. It was
Oh, okay.
Firefly Sweet Tea Bourbon,
Okay.
which that's when bourbon wasn't popular,
Right.
And but we they have a master distiller named Harlan Wheatley. Jay's spent 2 weeks with Harlan at Buffalo Trace. We really got a lot of insight on the whiskey world. In 2013, we made our first moonshine, and that's basically a white dog. It's a white bourbon recipe. So around 2013, 2009 to 2013, we were learning whiskey.
What was the process like infusing those tea flavors between vodka to whiskey or bourbon? Did you find it was 1-to-1, or did you have to more accommodate for the different flavors?
It was depending on what we were looking for, and I've got 12 girls that work for us that taste everything and have to give me a thumbs up before I release it.
Yeah.
It was going back and forth to keep them happy, and that's basically it.
Okay, so a lot of trial and error then.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it like tea leaves or tea concentrate, or how do you
Well,
do that?
that was the hardest part, and
Yeah.
we're the only ones that did it the
Right.
way we did. But you concentrate tea without keeping boiling it. 'Cause if you boil it too much, it'll caramelize, and you lose everything.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That's our biggest secret, is how we concentrate the tea
Okay.
without caramelizing it.
All right. I've heard British folks say when they're making tea not to boil it, just take the water up to a certain level, or you're
Steep
gonna,
it, I think is the term.
yeah, just
Yeah. I grew up in Louisiana. I call it like making roux. You don't boil that. You get it. If you do, you burn it.
right. No, that makes sense. So the tea, and you sourced it locally from
Right.
American Tea. Is that the name of
The
it?
Charleston Tea
Charleston
Plantation,
Tea
which is
Plantation.
owned by
Bigelow.
Bigelow Tea Company now.
Oh, Bigelow picked it up. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but that's when we got into whiskey, and then over the years, the moonshine and vodka brands grew, and under Firefly, and we do make a couple of whiskeys under Firefly, but
Right.
I don't think that Firefly can be everything. I think Firefly is a great moonshine and a great vodka. So, and Jim and I have had this journey since we met in 2003. So we decided to do a brown spirits company and call it Tom and Huck Distillers, and that's really, it's our journey. Doesn't have really anything to do with Samuel Clemens in his book. It's just he grew up on the Ohio River and I grew up on the Mississippi River.
Okay.
And we've been friends for 20-something years, and this whole journey is kind of Tom and Huck. It's a spirited adventure is what we call Tom and Huck.
There we go. Those are books I didn't read in high school.
Yeah, and it's really not about the book. It's just about the idea
Absolutely.
of adventure.
Absolutely.
And it can be anybody. It could be me and Jim. It could be my two boys, their adventures together, your adventures together.
For sure.
It's just a spirit of what we, that's what the company is. And then Tom and Huck also, everything we age is going to be inside Tom and Huck, because we have a unique microclimate here for aging spirits in that we have all this humidity, we have salt in the air, and we have heat. And
None of that is in Kentucky.
None of that's in
Yeah.
Kentucky is right. And so our aged whiskeys and bourbons are unique because of the environment here.
Okay. I think you were saying in the tour that we took that Maker's Mark has to rotate out their whiskeys, or other Kentucky places have to
So they rotate their barrels.
Yeah.
To get their higher end goods are aged in what they call honey barrels, and the honey barrels are near the windows where
Right.
there's more heat.
Okay.
So both rick houses they're all honey barrels because it's 120 degrees
Yeah,
in there
yeah.
tomorrow.
That's fascinating. I didn't even think about that. And then did they mention condensation?
Yeah. I guess barrel sweating and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So with all that heat, it creates pressure inside that barrel, and that juice expands into the oak. And there are some days where you can see beads coming out of the oak, even though it's that thick. So what that's doing is getting all the flavor from the oak
The sugars in
every
the oak.
day.
Huh.
And then when it cools, at night to a cool 78 degrees, it comes back out.
That's fascinating. I just never thought of those aspects of just putting liquor in a barrel. That's can happen.
When they start out, they're 53 gallons.
Uh-huh.
At the end of 5.5 years, they're about 35 gallons. So we call that, the angels come in every night and steal some.
Yeah.
It's called
There's
the angels here.
some tipsy angels around this
Right.
area.
So is the average casket lifespan then around 5 years or
5.5 to 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
And then
our-
we start losing way too much and it's not worth it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our sweet spot. 5.5 to 6.5 years is we can get 18, 12 packs out of those barrels.
You mentioned, jumping back really quick, White Dog, I believe you mentioned. So what is that to the probably a lot of listeners not familiar with what that term means?
Everything that comes out of the still is clear, and they call that white.
Okay.
No matter what the product is, it can be scotch, it can be rum, anything. When it comes out of the still, it is clear.
Okay.
And it gets its color from either the barrel or flavors you add
Right.
to it.
And,
Okay.
and the bourbon manufacturers call that white dog
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's
because it's at least 51% corn by law. You can't distill over 160 proof by law because you've got to have some of the flavors from your mash still in there.
sure.
And you have to age it in new American oak barrels.
That are charred, and it can't go in the barrel above 120 proof.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So if it goes above 180 proof, you're starting to get into tasteless.
You're calling it vodka.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Never thought about that.
So where do y'all source your barrels from then?
So Cumberland Cooperage,
Yep.
which is owned by Buffalo Trace, probably in my 30 years in this business, the finest barrels I've seen, besides maybe Seguin Moreau wine barrels, which are $1,200 a barrel. They're fantastic.
Was the Buffalo Trace agreement or working partnership or whatever, was that a big leap of faith when you started that? You're like, God, I hope this works out.
It was a joint venture done on a handshake for 9-10 months before we even got the paperwork.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
But you were excited about that, right?
Absolutely. I'd rather they brought so much more to the table than a New York investment firm, So it's a great partnership. It has been. We're still in it.
Your history is some, at least, confidence as far as your moves. You moved from Wadmalaw. You worked with Buffalo Trace. You decided to expand this place into an entertainment side gig.
Right.
Now the leap of faith is Tom and Huck's.
Right.
Are you doing one product or are you doing several products
Doing
for Tom and Huck?
several. So we do. Our first product that we made under Tom Huck is called Bend and Steel, which is an American crafted whiskey. Our goal on Bend and Steel was to overproduce what was inside the bottle for the consumer for the price point. So American whiskey with retailers and distributors has a bad taste in their mouth because the rules to make American whiskey are so lax. For instance, you can buy a Texas whiskey and it's 30% vodka, which is completely legal. So
Wow.
yeah, so and it could be 2 years old. So our Bend and Steel is a blend of 3 barrels: 6-year-old light whiskey from Indiana, 4-year-old bourbon from Kentucky, and our 5.5-year-old bourbon. And that's the blend. And we really and then we finish it off in a Madeira cask, which gives it a little almond raisiny finish on the end. So what we have is really special for $35 at 200 liquor stores across the state.
That's your only blended whiskey?
That's
right
our
now?
blended whiskey.
Okay.
And then we have a flavored whiskey line called Steel Feathers, which is blackberry whiskey, which is doing really well, an espresso, and then we do a Southern tea, which is half the sugar and whiskey, and then our Sweet Tea Vodka.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we do bourbons, and the bourbons are called Live, Live, and we started off making those just for each concert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And selling those, with the band's name on them.
Yep.
And now we're selling them as barrel proofs to 10 to 15 liquor stores a year across the state. And then in this fall, we're going to have just a regular live bourbon that will be every day we can sell.
Oh, great.
The personalized live bourbons are amazing. When we did our tour around the place last time, we saw the Pixies Modest Mouse one, and we had to grab one
Yeah.
just because, it's so cool being able to, have an experience with an event, then afterwards pick up a bottle, memorizing it. Yeah.
Right. I gotta work on our laws because you have to buy it before 7:00.
Yeah.
And then you can come pick it up at the end of the show.
I gotcha.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, because you can't buy liquor in the state past 7:00 anywhere.
Right. Right. I just figured, get it whenever. I'll get one on the way home.
Yeah.
So, stepping into the blended whiskey venture, I feel like, and this might just be me since I'm, I guess, a younger generation, blended whiskeys exploded so much within these past couple of years. Did you, I guess, see the trend and decide that you wanted to try to pick up on it? Or was it intentionally, like you were saying originally, that you just wanted to make a whiskey that everyone could enjoy, even people who were trying to, I guess, save a buck?
So both.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, for years rum has not been a growing category. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to go into a declining category. What's hot today are whiskeys and tequilas. I can't make tequila
Yeah.
because it has to be made in Mexico and,
Right.
and we're the tequila country, county, zone, whatever. So we decided to make a whiskey, and we wanted to really make it approachable, but really good because it's, if you're a serious bourbon aficionado, you're going to like our whiskey on a hot day. But in the fall, you're going to go look for barrel proof bourbons.
Right.
Right.
I'm looking for the Jameson. Jack Daniels is a whiskey. I'm looking for the people. Jim and I both worked the registers on Saturdays, and I asked people why they buy it and what they normally drink. And it's a lot of Scotch, blended Scotch and Jameson
Yeah. Yeah.
drinkers.
So the Canadians love a blended.
Yep.
Well, that's
The
another
Mist
reason.
and Seven.
Yeah.
and
I
everything.
got tired of hearing about Canadian whiskey, like Americans can't make good whiskey.
Right.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. And we did try that. We were here. I thought it was fantastic. And the Madeira aspect of it fascinated me because there was another gentleman here at that time that told me that Madeira was like Portugal, and that it kind of did have a history in
It has
Charleston.
a big history.
Big history, and Charleston's the only place that had a history. 1700s to 18
Yeah.
through 1800s, Charleston was the only place it came in to
See,
the
that's-
United States.
That's such a fascinating story.
Yeah.
And that's another benefit of being in Charleston. I mean, I'm sure, I don't know, Dubuque, Iowa has its own, local charm if anybody's making booze or whatever they're making there. But Charleston has a storied 300 plus year
Right.
this and that, and you can really tie up those kind of stories, and that kind of fact may turn a lot of people to just try it.
Right.
So going forth with Tom and Huck's, are you going to try to get it out to the world, or have you started?
Well, it's a different world in the liquor business. When we started, there were 12 micro distilleries across the country. Now there's
Couple thousand.
more than that, probably 4,000. So shelf space is all 4,000 can't get into liquor stores.
Right.
It's just a big fight. So we're gonna grow it in South Carolina, and then I have a story to go tell to Georgia.
Yeah.
And I have a story to tell to Tennessee, the states that are close to us.
Yeah.
And I have a story to tell, two of the biggest whiskey markets are Texas and Colorado.
Oh, okay.
So I've got a story to tell those markets.
Colorado, huh?
Colorado drinks a lot of whiskey.
That's interesting. I guess maybe it's cold there. I don't know.
I mean,
don't
I was
do market
working
research.
I was working Texas last week, and I was in Dallas and Austin for 4 days, and every bar I went in, the way they drink their whiskey is it's a shot, and they're drinking a beer. It's not like they're drinking whiskey drinks in Texas. It's shots.
Do you guys have any events coming up that you would like to talk about?
Yeah, we have. We have a lot of concerts left.
We've got 9 left, don't we?
Let me.
Oh, so you do stop. There's a concert season, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
We have one in June and one in July because it's too damn hot.
Okay. It is.
So let's
We
see.
had 5 in May.
Yeah, I probably was at a couple of those.
So our porch jams. We have the dub plates on July 13th, which is a week from Saturday. And then August 17th, we have Fleetwood Mac Tribute Band. That's the smaller,
Local band.
600 to 1,000 person shows. We have Nickel Creek, July 20th, which is a big show.
That's a big one.
We have Iration, we have 311, those are in August. Mudvayne, Band of Horses, Sublime with
Oh, wow.
Rome,
Those are good.
Young Gravy, Mountjoy, Black Pumas.
That's going to be good. Everybody's
Yeah,
going to
you
want to
just-
go to that.
Yeah, you try grabbing everyone, aren't you?
Yeah, Ray LaMontage and Juvenile and Lake City Drive, and then we end up October 25th with Brett Young.
Okay.
So our goal is to do 20 concerts a year.
And 20 diverse concerts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well, because you have metal, hip hop, country.
Right.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
That everybody in the area will be exposed to your product.
Right. That's our marketing vehicle.
That's beautiful. The other thing is you also have upgrades to some tickets where you can do the VIP porch.
Yeah. So it's called, because the bands have their own VIPs, we call it the Firefly Club because
Okay.
the people buy the band VIP, they think that they're automatically getting inside the building, which is not part of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's called Firefly Club, and it's awesome. And you're inside because you have access to air conditioning.
Right,
You have
right.
access to faster drinks.
And
you
a
have-
bathroom.
And a
Yeah,
bathroom.
yeah.
You get to sit on the back porch and watch it.
Yeah.
We only allow like 300 people into Firefly Club.
Our Firefly Club tickets, do they usually sell with the Ticketmaster tickets?
They
or
are.
is that
They're
something-
add-ons when you go to Ticketmaster.
Okay,
Okay, cool.
All right,
Yeah.
cool. We'll look for those as well. Well, we're going to wrap it up for the week. We've really enjoyed.
Let me
go.
tell you our two mottos.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
please,
yeah.
please.
But the first one is basically we didn't know we couldn't do it.
Okay.
And then the next one goes back to the Bee Gees in the late 70s, early 80s,
Yeah.
staying alive.
I think
It's
you've
true.
done a fantastic
Yeah,
job.
staying
Yeah,
alive
I mean, if you,
Friday,
if you
yeah.
think about it, we introduced Sweet Tea Vodka during the Great Recession.
Right.
Yeah. Not just that, moving too.
You
Yeah.
know, and then we moved and were presented with COVID-19.
Yeah, started
Yeah.
entertainment.
We are
business during
survivors.
COVID.
Yeah.
You know, could add another motto: "I will survive."
Good Lord.
Well, staying alive. So
Yeah. Give me about 2 months' notice before you start your next humongous venture.
Yeah, so we can
Because that's
prep.
prep for World War III.
That's funny.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you,
Shrimp
guys.
City Report had a lovely time, and we hope to speak to y'all again. For the Shrimp City Report, I'm going to say so long, and so long to you, gentlemen. Thanks
Thank
a lot.
you
you
for coming.
See you.
Thanks.